Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I sold a painting for 5 figures. You know, that was an amazing, that was a milestone for me, you know. And you know, as you were saying that thing about do you have to do it? You know, it's interesting. I've been a fashion designer, I've been an interior designer, I've designed handbags, I've founded a fashion brand. You know, I love doing all those things, and I'm sure I'll continue to do them in some way, shape, or form. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Pickles and Pasta with Steph and Jay. And this week, we're going to be talking about money, creativity, and the stories we inherit. So, Jay, why don't you kick it off with a synopsis of what we're going to talk about?
I'd be happy to, but that was the best intro we've had in the 7 billion episodes we've done. That was the best intro we've had so far. So just officially tipping my hat for those of you who don't see that I just tipped my hat, which I don't wear. Anyway, so yeah, very interesting topic, I think, for us this week, and something that definitely we've both dealt with, you know, money, creativity, and stories we inherit. And I think the stories we inherit part is very important to that, right? Like I think there are things that come to us not with intent always, right? Like our parents, our siblings, or, you know, our surroundings, whatever, they kind of give us these things. They tell us these things. They're always our best interests are at heart, you know, but they can have a weird effect on us. And it can affect us as we go into this world of creativity, which is, you know, not the traditional world, right? Like, so we carry these different things with us. And I think that can get complicated because it can get in the way of us, you know, doing what we do and getting paid for it, or making a living at it, or making more than a living at it, ideally. And all of that stuff, I think it's a complicated situation. And I think some people navigate it great. Like some people, they got the right things, you know, chipped into their head and in their soul, and they're cool with it. You know, they do their work, they charge for it, or they get paid for it, and they're cool with it, whatever it is. And other people, you can feel it, not so much. They're like, they don't know what to charge. They don't know what they should get paid. They don't know what it should be. And it's, you know, it's interesting. It's an interesting topic, and how we navigate that. I mean, you've had different experiences with it, right? Like how you had to deal with it compared to what you were taught. And then, you know, either from growing up, and then what you were taught in school, and then what you experienced in life. I mean, how did you kind of navigate that for yourself?
I mean, I always kind of understood that that talent and ability and hard work should reap financial gains. I never had a discrepancy in my head about that. But I have witnessed countless, you know, colleagues, other people doing similar things that I do, and saw them do it differently, or struggle to ask for the price, or
You didn't have that issue from the beginning.
I really didn't.
Not from
I really
from the
didn't.
first thing you did in the creative space. Like, I'm not talking about like a job. I'm talking about like creatively. So like you painted something, you designed something, you were like, this is what I'm charging. Like, you were cool with it right away.
Yeah, I mean, I went to
Wow, okay.
Parsons at 22 years old, and it's a curriculum to teach you how to do things creatively and to get paid as well as you possibly can for them. And so that's since my 20s. You know, prior to that, I wasn't really doing things creatively prior to that I was expecting to get paid for. I mean, I was a babysitter, I had jobs, and I expected to get paid for those things. But, you know, I was never one of those people that I mean, we can certainly get into this. The pricing conversation is certainly nuanced, and that's all over the place. But the idea of me doing something for somebody else in a creative capacity, whether it's advising, whether it's actually designing or actually making, I expect to get paid.
Okay. And
I have no shame about that.
I get that sense. I get that sense. But do you feel that you're comfortable in, if you make something like, this is what I should charge for it? Like let's say there's a product, right? Because I think there's a difference between a product and something that's like purely creative, right? Like a piece of art is purely creative, right? And designing handbags or accessories or something like that, that's a product. So you're spending time, you design it, you make a product. There's a difference between figuring out, okay, like, how much am I going to charge for this, and opposed to like the art, which you could relate, let's say in my world, to like a screenplay or something like that. Like, well, how do I determine the price? Do I get this? How do you feel there's a difference that you've run across that with the different things you've done, or do you feel it's the same? I did the work, I want to get paid, period.
No, I think that there are a lot of nuances to pricing different types of things. I mean, because I went to fashion school, a very high-level fashion school. I worked in the industry while I was in school. I had to go out into the industry and shop all of the major places that carried the kind of things I was designing. That was like part of our curriculum. And then after that, as I got older and became a true adult, I bought things out in the real world for my real houses, and I saw the pricing of things. I used to do a lot of very high-level antiquing with my mother-in-law, who had an antique shop, and I really learned the pricing of that kind of stuff. And then I got into interior design. So I had a very knowledgeable, wide array of how much that art would cost that we're placing in this very fabulous apartment or home that we're designing. So I saw the prices of things, and I saw the prices of them on the back end too. So I was very familiar with the cost to make it, the price of a wholesale and the price of a retail, and then the price to design. I really got quite an education from every spectrum of that, of the design manufacturing world, So that's what's helped me navigate my prices. And it also depends on location. Like, I got it that if I was being an interior designer in Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, that would be a different price I would charge per hour than if I were living in New Manhattan or doing design there in the Hamptons. It was a different person, and it was a different market. And you have to understand that, or you're going to fail if you don't understand the difference between the markets.
Sure. Yeah. It's very interesting. Because really for you doing art or any of the creative stuff, interior design, anything, it's certainly very different than doing a job, but you're very clean about it. Like, it's very like, I do it, I get paid, period. Like, my experience with, tons of creatives that I've worked with, and, in my own experience of myself, it's just not like that. Like, not like that. Like, it's a battle of like, what do I get paid? And it's across the board. Like, it's like, and it drives me, certain things, I'm used to a lot of this stuff, so I kind of, it doesn't drive me crazy is not the right expression, really. But, if we do, let's say, anything, a music video, a big commercial, a film, and we go to hire crew, they ask me what the budget is. I was like, what the hell's the difference? What's your rate? And they're like, well, what's the budget? Like, why are we having this conversation? Like, you either charge $10 or you charge $100 or you charge $16. That's it. And then I have to figure it out. I can afford you, I can't afford you. Well, if it's a feature film, then I might do this. But if it's a big brand, then I might do that. And if it's this, I might do that. But I'm like arguing with them in a way like I used to. I don't anymore. I'm like, but it's you. You have to eat. You have to pay your rent. You have a family. You whatever. Like, why does it? And like, well, but I want to get the job. And so there's this thing, which kind of goes to this like shame part. There's like, well, can I really charge that much? Like, am I going to get? Am I going to piss them off if I charge too much? Like, it gets into these weird things, and I think that a lot of creatives, whether it's and again, I think part of it is your situation is unique, and we've definitely had conversations about you're like, well, what can I charge for this piece? And then you think about like how much time you put into it, but then you're like, this is what it is, and then you look at the piece, and then you compare it to the market, and so you have like your own formula, right? Like I've noticed, and we've talked about it, and we go back and forth, and you'll say, well, I think this, and then I might give you some feedback, and we may discuss it, but you kind of have your own formula. But a lot of this other stuff, it's just kind of, it just doesn't always flow that way, and there is that feeling of like, can I really get this much? I don't want to overprice myself. I got to make the sale. Like there's a lot of stuff that, for the most part, creatives just really don't understand the business of that they're in. Like they understand the work, like they're amazing at what they do, whatever that role may be. But when you start getting into the money part, you can just see them getting all like weird, and it's just like it's just an interesting space. It's not, you don't have that in other situations.
Yeah, I hear that and I get it. I think a little bit of why I tend to have it pretty locked down is because when I went to Parsons, I really do believe that one of the things that they did really right. Now, I know Parsons has changed a lot over the years, and I graduated Parsons in 1990. They really focused on being professional. And to me, being professional is I am a professional, and you have to pay for professionals. And so I've always treated my work as a professional. And it's just like, it's up there in my eyes in every single thing I do. And maybe to a fault. For example, I have this event coming up in June where I'm going to be inviting a group of people in my community to my home and my art studio. And it is merely to have people be in the space, have them be around the art. It is not like there's not going to be prices around. It's going to be very subtle, but where I have taken my professionalism to the next level is there. Of course, there's a printout that has a QR code that'll take you to my artwork archive where you will see every price and you will see, all the information about all of the available works. And to me, like, that is a professional way to do something like that. I don't want people to feel pressured. I don't want them to feel like they're coming into a store or like a hard sell situation. I want them to really just come and have a good time. But there has to be professionalism in every single thing. And, maybe nothing will happen. But the fact that I'm doing it, I need to be professional and I need to do everything the way I'm aware of like every little segment of this journey of someone coming into a space, being around the art, being affected by the art, and then having the idea at some point. It might not be that day. It may be a week from then. But I have to have all my ducks in a row so that the possibility of a collector, someone collecting a piece, is within reach in a very professional way.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, I think, you described it very well. Like the idea is, when you see a painting on a website, it's nice, but you don't know the experience of it in your home. You don't know, or in your office. And by having people that are able to come to the house and see it, oh, this is how she hangs it, or she put it, oh, now I see this. I see the dimensions. I really feel it. You get to see more nuanced of the painting. Like, I think it's very smart. And like you said, it's not a selling thing. I mean, obviously we would love to sell the art, and we'd love for people to come and buy it and experience it, enjoy it in their homes or whatever. Of course, but it's not like a sell sort of thing. It's like, but yeah, no, I get that you are very professional in all the stuff that you do, and it's a lot of stuff. I mean, yeah, it's just the way you operate with everything you do. You have your lists, you have it organized, you make it clear. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. It's interesting listening to you when you talk about Parsons, because like being, growing up here, and we've all met, at least people like me, I get, whatever, people that are around the scene, and are out and about, or in the entertainment and fashion and design, all those sort of worlds. We knew the FIT people and we knew the Parsons people, and they were different. And they were always different. FIT were like out there. They were, they were the wilder ones. They were great designers. I mean, amazing designers have come out of FIT. Fashion designers. I mean, amazing students and all that sort of stuff. But you got the sense they came out of FIT and they could design, they could create whatever their art was, but they didn't know anything about anything else, like nothing about anything. And the Parsons had the design part too, but they had the business elements much more on lock. It felt like there was a more, that back then, from everything I've heard or seen about what Parsons is like now, it's a whole other shit show of an experience. But that was the way it was for a while, and that was their street cred. That's just the way it was. So it's interesting here. Like, you obviously experienced that. Like, I saw it from the outside, you saw it from the inside. Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, again, I think the money part, when you get into creativity, it just gets very weird for a lot of people. Like, it really, really does. What to charge, how much to charge. You have to have money to be in the creative space, right? Like, you have to have some sort of money or support system, whatever. And you hear the expression. I mean, I just read something about earlier today, like the starving artist. I mean, that guy was talking about to you earlier about Jesse Itzler, the guy, the guy who was married to the Spanx girl, which is not his. I say that sounds so shitty to say that. Like, one, I just don't remember her name, because I don't remember anybody's name. And two, I don't mean that like he is married to this. Like, he in his own right is like some ridiculously successful. I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he's very close if he's not. Like, they're both very, very successful in their own right. It's not like the husband of or the wife of. I know that's what it sounded like. That's not what I meant. But what a lot of people don't know, I mean, yourself included, I told you today, he wrote that New York Knicks song. Like, he wrote like "Go New York, Go New York, Go," like, which obviously we're hearing all over the place in the city right now, which is just amazing how the city is on fire about, like, there's no discussion. Like, everybody is a Knicks fan right now, or they're shutting up. Rightfully so. I mean, there's orange and blue everywhere. Like, it's really, really cool. But he wrote that song, I mean, to the point, right? So he wrote that song back in the day, and he got paid $4,000 for it, which even then was nothing. I mean, it was okay, but it was not real money. And he said, like, he was basically practically homeless. Like, he was like, I need money to be able to not live on the street. Like, that's how bad things were. He was like 22 years old. He was like, just really like at the bottom of the totem pole. And he sold it, didn't just sell the song. Like, a lot of times, okay, you can have the song, but I own the IP. No, he sold the entirety of it all. Like, he does not own anything. So you hear that song playing over and over again, he's not getting a penny for it. Zero. But, and he didn't know what to do, right? He didn't know what to charge. He was in that like starving artist thing. But where his business savvy kicked in is he then leveraged that, and he sold that service to all these other teams in all these other sports, where he wrote their songs and their jingles, and then he made a lot of money, and then he made more money, and now he's like a part owner. They're both part owners of the Atlanta Hawks. They're very, very successful, but they're very, very savvy. But he also didn't know, maybe he could have negotiated that. Maybe he could have been like, yeah, it's 4,000, but I own it, or I own 5% of it. Like, I'm keeping a piece of it because it's my song. He didn't know. He had no training. He just didn't. I find with a lot of people, there is that awkwardness of like, what do I charge for this? And sometimes you have to just be like, that's my price. You have to have like a bit of confidence in yourself. I mean, I did it in in my tennis business. Like there was no logic. It wasn't like, let me do the math on this and that. I'm going to think about this, and or if I carry this and I change it. I didn't do that. It's not that I didn't have the intelligence to do that. I mean, not that I was good in school, but I understood business from when I was very young. It was like the only classes I did well in because I didn't feel like work to me, or didn't feel like schoolwork to me. But I just decided this is what I'm going to charge, period. And it wasn't what other people were charging, and I didn't care. And I was like, that's what I'm charging. And some people were like, the fuck are you, and where are you getting off these? I was like, that's my price. If you don't like it, that's okay. And I also didn't have money. If they didn't hire us, we were in trouble. But I just had that, and I just kind of did something that I looked at it from a very different lens, and I looked at it like the market and this. I looked at different factors, but really a lot of people, they just don't, and they're just and if they do something that, let's say, they really like, which is great, like we all say that, like it's great, you really want to do, you want to have a job that you really love doing, and you don't you get up early in the morning and you stay up late because you really love doing it. There's a flip side to that, is that you're willing to do it for not that much money. Like a lot of people are willing to, like, I'm just happy to be doing this job. I'm happy to be doing this work, whether it's whatever it is, designing logos. Like, I really love doing that. So they won't charge as much, and I think it's a tricky thing. And I don't know what the core of it is. If it's, you're embarrassed, you're nervous, I don't know. But I find it a lot.
As you're talking, I'm thinking about multitudes, maybe not multitudes, but examples of people recently in my life who are doing creative things that I know they want to sell. And there's definitely a confidence thing around that. And also a lack of experience in doing it, taking it from creation to marketplace, lack of experience. Maybe they've watched other people do it, and maybe they've criticized those people for being out there and, showing what they've done, as if the people that have created things just want to do it because they like attention, which couldn't be further from the truth why people create things and then show them to the world. It's because that's kind of the process to get it out there, to get people to see it, to even know that it exists, and to see if they want it. So it's like, I think that there is a lack of experience, a lack of confidence, and then maybe almost a shame in a weird way that they have participated in maybe watching another entrepreneur do it, and maybe they weren't so kind, and now they find themselves in this weird situation where they have been making something and now they don't know how to get it out there because they don't feel comfortable doing this thing that they themselves have shamed, or they don't feel comfortable because they don't have confidence, or they don't feel comfortable because they have no training, and that's the process to sell.
Yeah, I as you're saying this to me, I'm kind of, all these visions are coming into my head of like musicians and actors and artists that I've, known over the years. And, like artists, let's say, that I was friends with, and, they'd be embarrassed at their shows. Like they kind of, they felt uncomfortable, like all the work is up there, and they were kind of like scared, or they were embarrassed, or they're like, they knew what wasn't right about that one thing, or there was that thing that I hope nobody notices, or, they were like, oh, they're going to want to talk to me. And like, they just felt uncomfortable. Like they just were like, they did it because I've said this to so many artists, big word artists that I've mentored over the years, actor, musician, paint, whatever. And I would always ask them, like, do you have a choice? Like, is there a choice here? And if they're like, well, if this doesn't work out, I do have a degree in such and such, or like, I'm really good at that, I'm like, we can stop here. Like we can stop here. Like let's not waste each other's time. This is cool, but like if you're like a jazz musician and you're like, if I don't make it big and I'm 55 or 63, I'm gonna play jazz in a small club someplace because I play jazz. That's what I do, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm totally, and if I make money over the years, that's great. And if I have to make money by making investments or by doing other things, that's great. But playing jazz, writing jazz, playing jazz, that's what I do, and that's what I do. And a painter can be the same thing, and an actor can be the same thing, and on and on and on and on and on. And so I think there's a part of that. Like it's the type of like you think that and we know this. I mean, I know this alone in this. Many people knows. I mean, some of the most famous people in the world are like the most shy, you know, lack of confidence people out there. Like they can go on that stage and they can do whatever, or they can do all these different things, but in their core, they are nervous as hell. Like, they don't know, but something inside of them, it clicks. Right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Jordan said that famously. Like, he's like, the second I'm lacing up and I don't have butterflies in my stomach, that's it. It's over. I'm not playing. He said he got nervous before
Yeah.
every single game. Period.
That's cool.
So,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing. And I think that can relate to when you're feeling like that. It's not as easy to say, "Oh, yes, that's $50,000." Like, "Oh, that's $5,000." Like, it's not that easy to say that when you're kind of inside of you, maybe not feeling that. Like, like it's great, but at the same time, there's a part of you that's like, "But what if they don't like me? Or what if they don't like it?" And I think there's something about the money that has to do with the actual work and the actual person. Like getting paid to a certain extent means they like me.
Hmm.
Like remember, like I don't know if anybody remembers, when Sally Field, I think it was Sally Field, won the Oscar or whatever, and she's like, "You like me, you really like me," because
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
like
I
her.
remember
It
that.
was
I
something
remember
like
that. Yeah.
that, and it's like, you know, yeah, that's right. We did for until you said that. But there's something like that. Like if they paid you for the work, right? Like if you do like a regular job and you get paid, it's not, you don't have that same sort of feeling. But if you know, paint a painting or write a song or act in a film or direct a film, and they paid you, yes, they liked your work, but it's a reflection on you, and you feel it in a very different sort of much more emotional way, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I sold a painting for 5 figures. That was
Big
an
deal.
amazing. That was
It's a
a
big
that was
deal.
that was a milestone for me. And you know, as you were saying that thing about do you have to do it? It's interesting. I've been a fashion designer. I've been an interior designer. I've designed handbags. I've founded a fashion brand. You know, I love doing all those things, and I'm sure I'll continue to do them in some way, shape, or form. But I think it's the painting that I have to do. And, I know I haven't done it consistently the entire, 50 years out of my 61 that I'm here on this planet, but it's that one thing that I will always do and I'll always want to do.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, look, I think that you are an artist. You've been an artist. So you've always created art no matter what. Like you found a way to create art in everything that you did. So like when you weren't painting on a daily basis or weekly basis, whatever you want to call it, and you were doing other things, you used your creativity and your artistic chops to do other things. Like you weren't the traditional interior designer, you weren't the traditional bag designer or accessory designer or clothing designer. You infused art into that. And I know that as you got into even like the stuff that we did or stuff that you did everything, but when we started talking about like little different things about where the art and the brand and the things tied together, like your creative juices started flowing. Like you started, as stressful as all that is, and as stressful as business is in general, you were happier. you were happier as you were painting. You were happier as that sort of creativity was coming. Like the zipper being here or the zipper being there is creative, but that's not the same. That's just not
I
the
need
same.
an assistant for that shit.
Yeah, that's not your favorite thing. That's not your favorite. But you were very, very meticulous and you were very particular, which you still are. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting thing. But yeah, no, obviously you don't have a choice. I mean, you're an artist. You're an artist. You're an artist at your core, and I know you talked about like directing and stuff like that, which I do think you would be able to do. You would need not need, but you would benefit from a good support system as the director for sure. But I think you do have good vision and you do have understanding about things and scenes and beats and stuff like that. So I think at some point you will, whether you direct a short film or a feature film or a TV show, whatever, I don't know. I think it's probably going to happen. You heard it here first. But because I think you're a creative, and again, I do think that creatives can make adjustments within their creative worlds, but they're still creatives, right? Like, I mean, Adrien Brody's a painter, right? Like, and apparently his paintings are really cool, and now he's on Broadway, and he's an Academy Award winner. Like, so the Broadway,
Matt Dillon's a painter. I love
yeah,
Matt Dillon's paintings.
yeah, like these guys are. So the painting and the acting are obviously very different. The Broadway acting and film acting are also very different, but they're still acting. Like they're still within the umbrella of acting. It's different. Painting is a whole other animal. But you even see it with those guys and girls that are like
Sharon
actors or directors.
Yeah.
Right. But they tend to be very bashful on the painting side. They're much more bashful on the painting side, I find, than they are. You can see how happy they are, like when they do interviews, but like if you ever see them like in a gallery or they're much more bashful. Like, whereas when they're on the red carpet, they're not, it's very different, you know, or when they go to set and they get, you know, they can be weird before a scene, like if they're in their trailer or in their dressing room or whatever, they can be weird there because they're maybe nervous. But when it's call time and, you know, action, they're not, then it really shines. So, yeah, it's interesting. I think it's very interesting. We all have to kind of find our own groove in this, right? Like the reality is that money does come into play. Um, that's just a requirement of the world we live in, and I think it's important that the earlier that we understand what inheritance or baggage we've come with, and understanding baggage in a bad way, the earlier we understand, okay, this is what we've been taught, and the earlier we learn, okay, that's pause. Now let me step outside of what I've been taught to see how the universe really is. If it's the same and I work with that, great. If it's not, let me learn these little skills that I have to learn so that you can have the best possible career you can have. I think that is something very, very important. I think just to say like, well, I inherited this, so therefore that's the way I have to be is not the case. Like it just doesn't have to be that way. And I think if you get into it and you have shame around money, then okay, you have to learn how to kind of change that to move forward. If you have too much confidence and you have to be like, okay, now you're too cocky and people are not going to like you there. Like finding that balance is something I think we can all do. And it's not an age thing. You can do that at any point. If you can do it when you're 20s, you can do it in your 50s, it doesn't matter. But at some point, I think it's important to do that. And then I think when you can find that balance between the creativity and the money and all that stuff, I think that's when, even if you don't become hugely successful, you'll feel so much better. And so whatever your success is will feel right. And you'll be, I think, in a better shape in your career and in your life and everything else. And that's kind of my way more than 2 cents, but let's call it 5 cents and call it a day. So,
alrighty.
So,
then.
Yeah. Anything you want to add? Anything you think I may have left out, or you want to add to this?
I think that, I think it just takes some understanding of the craft that you're in and why you're doing it to understand that if you're doing something professionally and you're putting yourself out there professionally, you deserve to be paid for it. And the more confidence that you exude and the more real understanding that you have of the market, the easier it is for you to set a price and to put that out to the world. And I think for a lot of people, I think it might be interesting to understand that when you see someone who is putting out on social media their creativity, the things that they make out of their imagination, maybe hold your observation and understand that they're doing that because that's how they're choosing to make a living. And that is the purpose of making things, for them to go out into the world and to be appreciated and enjoyed by others. And it is this continuous, sustainable give and take. You know, people often ask me about, you know, my paintings, what is my hope for them? And my hope is that I paint them and someone buys them and enjoys them, because that's what they're made for. It's this continuing of energy and beauty and positivity and joy. And, you know, support your local creatives. I mean, they're not doing this for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not doing it because they want attention. I can assure you of that. Yeah.
No, the real joy of seeing your work, seeing someone else enjoy your work, that's, I don't want to say it's more important. It is probably more important for most artists than the money, but the money is what enables you to continue to do what you do, and rightfully so, you deserve to get paid for the work that you do. But I know you've often said that, like, when you create something and someone gets to enjoy that in their home, in their office, that's the real joy. Like, really, that you did it and someone else really got something out of it. That's the success. It's not through articles. It's not any of that sort of stuff. That's the success.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Alrighty. Well, that was lovely. Thanks for those wonderful tidbits, as always, and your great stories. And thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. And, you know, as always, if you have any questions or comments, please let us know. And we'll be happy to read them and maybe do something with them and maybe not. Anyway, have a great rest of your week, and go New York. Say, go New York, go.
Go New York, go, and have some fun today.